If you see 3 signs about a person you're dating, are they enough to let you know if the relationship is going to last or things are going to fall apart? In this video, we are going to explore if 3 signs are enough to let you know the outcome of a relationship. One of my clients, Claire, saw powerful signs when she was dating a person, and she was trying to figure out how many signs she would need to get a confirmation on whether the relationship is going to last or not. And I'm going to share some of these signs with you throughout the video so that you too can understand how you can leverage the power of signs in order to come to a conclusion on whether a relationship is going to last. Hello everybody, I am Vaishali Nikhade. I'm an engineer turned psychic with over 9,000 readings, and I show you how you can leverage the power of stars for your love life. So here's what you're going to learn in this video: using signs as clues, the role of consistency in signs, interpreting the signs, how many signs are enough, and using signs as part of a bigger picture. Your goal is to get experience in order to be able to interpret these signs as quickly as possible so that you can catch these signs early on in a relationship and not invest your time into something that is going to lead nowhere. Essentially, save yourself a lot of heartache. So the first one is using signs as clues. So signs from the universe are actually just signs, as in a code language from the universe, which is kind of telling you or giving you an answer to a specific question. However, because we are all unique, even though we are all human beings, we are all unique and we have unique environments, the universe chooses a different way to communicate with each and every person. So the signs that I see throughout my day are going to be different than the signs that you are going to see throughout your day, because your environment is different than my environment. And the universe is going to communicate with me in such a way that I understand the sign it's sending me, and it is going to communicate with you in such a way that you will understand the signs that it is sending you. However, there are some signs which are going to be very blunt and very obvious. For instance, in the case of Claire, one of the signs she saw was she had a glass and the glass fell on the floor and it broke. Definitely that is not a positive sign whether you're Claire or you're not Claire. So essentially that is a blatantly obvious sign which is showing you the negative outcome of a relationship. So one of the signs that Claire saw was a glass falling on the floor and breaking apart, and essentially that was the first hint she got of what the outcome of the relationship was going to be. So if you get such a blatantly obvious sign, then essentially you can kind of use that as one piece of the evidence. This is not like the complete picture. You still have to kind of glue together all the pieces of the puzzle, but this is going to be like one piece of the evidence which is going to show you as to whether things are going to move forward or things are going to fall apart. So that is one sign. So that was one sign for Claire. So that is using the signs as clues. Now the second part is the role of consistency in signs. Now one sign by itself is not really enough. It could be that she made a misinterpretation in terms of interpreting the sign, and the universe was giving that sign to her as an answer to a different question she asked. So one sign by itself is not going to be enough. You need more than one sign, and you need them all to be consistent. Bang, 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 yes, 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 no, 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 so that you know that, okay, it's essentially kind of leading down the yes road or it is leading down the no road. So what you need to do is you need to gather more pieces of the evidence in order to find out if the signs are consistent. So for instance, in the case of Claire, the first sign is that she broke the glass. The second sign is she took a bowl of milk and she put it in the microwave to warm it. And as soon as she did that and she took the bowl out, she found that the milk went bad. So that is another sign. So she got one negative sign, and then this is the other negative sign. So now she has two negative signs in a row. They are both consistent, and they're kind of both telling her the same thing. The first one is the glass falling and shattering to pieces, which is going to show her that the relationship is going to fall apart. The second one is the milk going bad, which essentially tells you that, okay, things are going to go bad. So now she has two signs which are consistent and telling her the same message, which is the first one is a no and the second one is a no. So now we come to interpreting the signs. Now, in terms of interpreting the signs, like I mentioned before, everyone has different environments, so everyone may see different signs, but some signs may be easier to interpret than the other signs. For instance, the breaking of a glass, it's definitely a negative sign. The milk going bad, that is also a negative sign. So exactly what would be a positive sign? So a positive sign could be something which is, let's say, that she receives a good message or a good news, or she has something that makes her happy and excited as opposed to something that makes her sad. You need something consistent and something a little bit more positive in order for you to be able to interpret things as a yes. So if you see one sign and if you see that is bad news, and then you see a next sign and you see that as good news, then you're going to get confused because you don't really know whether the signs are pointing to a no or the signs are pointing to a yes. So in this particular scenario, specificity is key in the sense that you have to ask a clear question and look for the answer. And if you ask a clear question and look for the answer, then it shows up as negative all the time, or it may show up as positive all the time. And essentially, your intuition is the bridge, which is going to help you interpret the signs. And I've covered this in the next video, which is essentially the intuition acts as a bridge for you to be able to interpret signs from the universe. So just as an action step, what you can do is you can ask a question to the universe about a person. If you have someone in your life, and you can ask the universe as to are things are going to move forward or not, and then see what kind of signs you receive. And you need at least two signs. So specifically, if you take at least two signs, and you should see them as both positive or both negative. If it's one positive and one negative, it's kind of confusing. You need to ask for more signs. Which leads me to the next topic, how many signs are enough? So essentially, like I mentioned before, consistency is key. Just one sign by itself, it's a good starting point, but it's not enough. Just the second sign, two signs can be okay, but what do you do if one is positive and one is negative? Then you're kind of confused. So I would say you need a minimum of 3 signs, and then most of the times they're all going to point in the same direction. But if you get a scenario where one is pointing yes and the other is pointing no, and you have 3 signs, then you have 2 to 1, and then you could go with whatever is more. Like if 2 are saying yes, then you could interpret as the outcome of the relationship being a yes, whereas if 2 are saying no, then you could interpret as the outcome of a relationship being a no. So 3 is minimum. If you take more than 3, if you take 4 or 5, then it's even better. But essentially, you're going to find the same thing, that all of the signs are going to point in the same direction and give you the same outcome. And this is before things are actually going to play out in your real life. So essentially, signs are a part of a bigger picture, but you need more than one. You need more than, I would say you need at least 3 signs, and all of them should kind of convey the meaning in an exaggerated manner. The glass breaking is an exaggerated sign. The milk going bad is an exaggerated sign. She had a third sign, which is she called a friend, and the friend mentioned that someone had passed away. Again, that is a negative sign because essentially it's talking of an ending. It's talking of something dying. So essentially, if you ask a sign about a relationship and you get that kind of a message, essentially it could convey that, okay, things are going to fall apart or things are going to die. So I would say that at least have a minimum of 3 signs. And if you're unsure and if you're just starting out, then I would say that take at least 5 signs. And like in this particular case, I mentioned glass falling on the floor, the milk going bad, and the news of somebody passing away. They're all extremely negative signs. and all of them talk of an ending or something going bad or something ceasing to exist, which means that her relationship is going to cease to exist. So that is how you can kind of figure out if the signs are, if 3 signs are enough, or I would say when you first get started, you should take 5 signs, and 5 signs should be more than enough, more than sufficient in order for you to be able to come to this outcome. Now, what happens if you are getting the signs from the universe and you're unsure of whether or not you can trust them, whether you should trust your intuition or whether you should trust signs from the universe? That is the subject of my next video, and I'll see you in my next video.